Okay, so kind of mocking this up in here. This obviously is not at all whatsoever what the final project will look like. Again, most folks aren't going to have this issue with their floor, hopefully. But anyway, so what I did was I ended up pulling the pins apart for a lot of this stuff. Ended up pulling this apart so that I could fish it through here, like fish it through this area here. What ended up happening is it was more the controller is what I had to fish through. So just these 3 pins is what I had to fish through, because then I was able to kind of push all that through that hole. The main primary wire, so the power and the ground, not so much. This is going to go to the pump, so it's going to go through the hole. But this 3-wire system, which is this one, which would be upstairs, is what I had to fish through. And you can kind of see, you know, that's the hole that I'm trying to use. Originally, I actually thought I was going to end up needing that hole. Like having to put this heater over there, and which was kind of not optimal, because that means that I would have had to cut a hole through here in order to make sure that this end actually got heat, like without question. But because the sewer line runs right in front of that, somewhere this sewer line was going to get cooked to death. So, because this thing puts out nearly 200 degrees, 200 to 208 degrees. Maybe not all the way at the end where it would be, but either way, 100-something degrees constantly on this pipe right here. Even driving cool weather and stuff like that might not be enough to actually keep this from deforming. So not worth taking that chance. So I went ahead and pulled all that wiring apart and put the pins back in. It's super easy to do that. This end. So basically when you, and I can't, it won't focus in on that. So what you do is you push the tops of those pins in, and it pulls a little detent down. And in the process of that detent, these will actually pop out the back. It's no different than most of any electrical connector under the planet. I mean, it's most of them, like these ones right here, they may seem like they're, you know, they've got some kind of rubber in here to make them, you know, somewhat watertight. But, you know, they can't claim that it's watertight because you left those 2 connections completely open, which means that water will 100%, you can kind of see right through that. I can see that. You can see right through those holes. So there's nothing watertight about any of these connections. I do really like the fact that they put enough time investment in this to kind of poke yoke this thing. I actually think that's kind of nice. But I guess if you're going to sell to the general public, you got to do whatever you can, right? Anyway, I did notice this seal, I'll have to, when this compresses, it will seat up into this thing appropriately. You can see how it's not really kind of going in there as square as it should be. But yeah, that'll be the general look of it. I'm notching these, and then I'll weld those, weld this. I'm actually going to put another, well, I'm notching these so it won't matter, but there'll be a bar between these 2 here. And then I'm going to build basically like an H-frame here for this to go into. So effectively, I'll have a bar right here, and then I'll have like this H-frame. So I'll have 2 pieces here, and then a piece here. And then this piece will screw into this piece that's up here. You'll see it. But there it is again. I will be running the exhaust, or at least my intention is to run. So this is the exhaust here. This is air intake. So I'm going to run this exhaust from like right here, kind of at an angle, like over that direction. And then right ahead of this, I have a little fitting, and it'll kind of go through the corrugated. And once it goes through the corrugated, because it's a protection fitting, so it's supposed to keep isolation at the temperature. So it'll go through the corrugated, mount to the corrugated, and then I'll basically just kind of like 90 out of the corrugated to the muffler, and then it'll stick, you know, it'll pump out the side. I may do the muffler, like after I come onto here and do a 90, I may put the muffler like here, or maybe even up here. I'd maybe more down here. I kind of want it to be low, but I want to keep the exhaust kind of inside here for the lion's share before it actually goes out. because the exhaust gets kind of warm too. So if I can kind of keep the exhaust heat in this whole area too, between this, which is 2 kilowatts, and then the actual exhaust heat itself, I actually think that we're going to do pretty good. Awesome. I'm pretty excited. Okay. Again, there's that. Kind of this is the, let's test it out. Let's see what works. Let's see what doesn't work. Let's see your location. The reason I'm notching these ones right here is that this thing right here lacks about a 1/2 inch of being able to be just pushed up and taken off. Because right now it's sitting right on here, and you have about an inch or so above. But I'm going to drop it down because I want to be able to, if I wanted to, be able to just take these nuts off of this right here and pop these off, and then actually just pick this heater up and slide it out if I wanted to, versus taking these bolts out that I'm going to put in. I'm using these. These are 1.5 inch self tappers on each side of this. This is a 1/2 inch here, and then this is 16 inches long, but it's exactly 15 inches from this structural member here, not the insulation, but the structural member. It's 15 inches from there. And then this is exactly 16 inches long, and it's exactly a 1/2 inch off the floor. The reason it's this distance right here is because you're going to have that extrusion is going to be about right there, and then the top of the curve is going to be somewhere right in there for this extrusion, and you know, the inside curve, because it's not nice and square like it is inside these tubes. Like, it's not square like that. It's actually got like a radius, kind of like what that would look like. So it's going to have a little radius inside. So you got to compensate for all that. So that's where the screws are, you know, about an inch up or so. But this pipe is a 1/2 inch off the bottom. And this is one by one tubing, 1/8 inch wall. And then that's what I'll kind of build this out of. I had an old piece of this laying around. Because last night, when I took off, I actually kind of thought it was this beam, but it's this 1 inch beam. So as much as I wanted to use this stuff, because it's, you know, it's 1/8 inch wall too, it's not going to be, you know, super awesome to have a pipe bigger than this. It's going to look not aesthetically pleasing. So I'll weld all this up, and then everything will look pretty good here. But I'll take another video of what it's going to look like in the completed state. But for the most part, there it is. All right, see you on the next video.